Hey guys, let's talk about a movie I just saw. Well, I finally got to see at least one 2020 movie I was excited about in theaters.
Wonder Woman 1984 is finally out, and, to my immense joy, has turned out to be a wonderful Christmas present.
Before I go into detail about my initial thoughts of the movie, I'd like to make a few things clear. First of all, I ironically am someone who has had no interest in seeing the first Wonder Woman movie. My main reasons for this are twofold. First of all, I am not a fan of the Zack Snyder-led era of DC movies, where the emphasis was on overly dark, gritty tones, with its emphasis on deconstructing superheroes as flawed and overly violent, unappealing muted colors, and rejecting positive worldviews. Also, as a history buff, I have an issue with the movie's World War I setting, as it doesn't really jive with how the Germans were portrayed as really Nazi-like, or how Wonder Woman is supposed to be a symbol of hopeful compassion, as that war was just a pointless slaughter where everyone was the bad guy, and had its main legacy be a century of violent upheaval throughout the world. However, I was really interested in seeing the sequel for the following reasons. First, when Kristen Wiig was announced as the villain Cheetah, I was intrigued, as I felt she would be a fun, crazy comic book villain. In addition, my growing respect for Gal Gadot as a genuinely good human being has largely dissipated my earlier concern that she looked less like an Amazon and more like a model cosplaying, particularly as she is more athletic looking in this film. Finally, the announcement that the film would not be intricately tied into the previous DCEU movies as part of that franchise's reboot made me confident in how it would turn out. In all, the film is great for the following reasons.
The basic premise of the story is as follows. Diana Prince has been steadily establishing herself as a hero, while at the same time working at the Smithsonian, but is still sad over her lost love Steve from the first film. Meanwhile, there is a new member of the Institute's faculty, Dr. Barbara Minerva, who is a classically lonely nerd who never really gets noticed. As Diana and her start to hit it off as friends, would-be tycoon Maxwell Lord is struggling to keep his business afloat, desperate to do anything to succeed in life, believing that's the only way his son will respect him. Upon coming across a magical stone that grants wishes, all three of them have their lives upended. With Diana's wish for Steve to return, Barbara's wish to be as attractive and strong as Diana, and Maxwell's wish, which is too much of an important plot point to be spoiled here, being granted, but with severe consequences. Gadot not only kicks ass and has some good one-liners, while looking great doing it, but also does a good job in showing Wonder Woman's hopeful compassion and desire to help people. She even does a good job at showing the pathos of Diana's love for Steve in a way that is not cringy. Additionally, Kristen Wiig is delightful as Diana's friend turned enemy. She definitely sells Barbara's transformation from a clumsy and awkward, but kind person, to a very sexy, but intimidating and increasingly violent antagonist. Pedro Pascal is also really captivating as Maxwell Lord. Refreshingly, he manages to be a very nuanced villain who elicits sympathy without being framed as a villain with, quote, justifiable actions.
Finally, the film presents a genuinely uplifting and hopeful message that has been severely lacking in superhero movies in the past several years. A message that is particularly needed now more than ever.
If I had any real complaints about the movie, it would probably be how Chris Pine's performance is adequate, but not as captivating as the other leads, as he is mostly just Diana's handsome love interest. At the same time, however, they do have good chemistry together. Also, the film's opening sequence, while visually interesting, is a little too long, given how its relevance to the plot could have been summed up in just a quick montage and a couple of scenes. Overall, I give Wonder Woman 1984 an A-. Even with some pacing issues at the beginning and some uneven acting among the leads, it's a really fun, compellingly optimistic film that is sure to lift your spirits at the end of what has been a pretty shitty year.
Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. Also follow me on Twitter at PCNHGuy and check out my Pop Culture and History Guy Patreon. Happy holidays, everyone!